Hey, jumping in here real quick. I just wanted to post this mostly as like if anyone else wants to make a video on Evbo, I want the information to be freely available for that. It's probably not going to be very interesting to sit through this entire 1 hour interview. So if you want something that's a little more entertaining, I've already made a video on it. It's linked in the description. I've also automatically cut out all of the silences, so it's probably going to fuck some stuff up. So keep that in mind. Why did you start YouTube?
All right, let's see. I definitely. Sorry, I'm just gonna. I already told you this going into it, but like I'm super bad at like coming up with stuff on the spot.
That is so fine.
You might have to trim around a lot of stuff, but yeah. Anyways, no. So when I was 13, actually, like I started streaming like PvP content, and back then that was super fun to me, and I only got to do that for about 6 months because my parents were very not into the idea of me playing Minecraft all the time. So I built up like a small following way back then, and that was something like I had such a fun time with, but just never got the chance to do. So when I finally, years later moved to college and could actually get myself a PC, like I started coming back into content creation because that was something like, I don't know, to me, it was always like an unchecked box. I had always wanted to do it. I started doing it, but just never got to see it through. And so, yeah, it was kind of, and, I obviously grew up watching Minecraft YouTubers. And yeah, I mean, that was it.
Does that, like old, assuming it's like a Twitch, does that still exist or is it gone now?
Yeah, actually, my clips are still on my Twitch. Like my Twitch is Evbo Live, and I have clips from I have like 3 clips from like 9 years ago. It says
that's got the same profile picture and everything.
I know. I had so yeah, I have 3 clips from 9 years ago. That was when I streamed for a little bit. Yeah, I did a lot of UHC content back then.
And one from 5 years ago.
Yeah, so that was actually when I got my PC like for the first time, and picked back up streaming and still played UHC and stuff like that because that was kind of just all I knew.
Yeah,
and that was a short period before like I got back into, or before I kind of started the Evbo channel and started going into skits and storytelling and things like that.
Got it. Okay. Did you, second question here, did you go in with the intention of making it like for kids, or was it just like that's just what you wanted to make?
Yeah, I definitely not. Like, I don't think that was something I really thought of, but like, I think just at the end of the day, I naturally gravitated towards like just making content accessible for anyone. Like not, I like keeping the language clean and things like that. And I think, I always try to just make it as entertaining as possible with trying to cater it to everyone,
Got it. See, it's interesting you say you like naturally try to cater to everyone, because that is like the best possible trait in someone trying to be a content creator. Like, how much have you like thought about that? Like, is that, I don't know how to ask this.
I think I see where you're getting at. Like, I think, like, especially in, because I've done so many skit videos, right? And so I'm always thinking along the lines of like, what would be the funniest possible thing? And I mean, like, I would probably naturally think of something that is not very like family friendly in a lot of situations, just because I think that's just perfectly natural. But like, I kind of view it as like a challenge on my end to, see how entertaining I can make something, but while keeping it catered to all sorts of audiences. Like every audience can view it and, not have to worry about whether it's family friendly or not. So that's kind of the route I chose just from the very beginning. And, I don't think that's a bad path whatsoever. I think that's, I think just content like that is good on YouTube.
Do you know if you're on YouTube Kids?
Yeah, most definitely.
Got it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't like, as far as I'm like, I don't opt into that, but it's just YouTube.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, they just hand selected and put it there.
Sense. Yeah.
So that is also something to continue, like, going forward. I obviously like can't be putting bad stuff out there.
All right. What was your like first video that like properly blew up?
Yeah, I like this question because I think like when a lot of people look back at my older videos on my channel, like there's obviously like there's a ton that just have, when I went through these modded playthroughs, all of these have a ton of views right now. But in reality, like those had almost zero views.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
And for such a long time, the first video was it was Minecraft if noobs took over the world. And that video was, so I started doing modded playthroughs for kind of like maybe 6 or 7 months throughout 2021. And then I kind of, I pivoted to something different, right? I tried like a skit style thing that I made primarily for TikTok, actually. It was the Minecraft if creeper holes were never filled. And that got me along the lines of thinking of some other ones, right? So I made Minecraft if noobs took over the world. And before that video, like every single video on my channel had roughly 1,000 views, maybe 2,000
including the creeper hole one.
Including the creeper hole one, yeah. And then when I came out with the noob video, that one hit 50K in the first day. And so at the time, that was crazy to me, right? I was like, this was the first actual video I've had that has done numbers on with the YouTube algorithm and things like that.
Yeah.
And that wasn't supposed to be like a series. That was just supposed to be a one-off video. So, but after that, I was like, okay, I kind of left it open-ended. I have to follow this up. And so I made Minecraft, but I get sent to noob prison, and then that one did 1 million in a day and got
is crazy.
number three on trending of like all of YouTube. And so like after that, I was like, wait, this is really weird. Like in the matter of like 4 days, like I went from YouTube just being something I did on the side to like, wait, is this actually going to be like a full-time career? I was kind of blown away, right? And so I just really kept up the momentum. Like I posted episodes every like 4 days, I think. And like I made that kind of like a 4-part series, then did a spin-off of it, did another 4-part thing.
Are these like, how connected are they? Like, is it to the extent that Parkour Civilization is?
Yes and no. Like I would say the first 4 noob videos are very storyline oriented. Like just follow the same thing. And then I kind of had like a pro arc, right? But I kind of stopped. I kind of started it at a different point where it's like you could pick up the pro one and not know anything. Like it would just be a singular video to someone who's just watching. But then I actually kind of like tie them all in together somewhere along the lines of like a simulation sort of deal. So like they're all kind of like variations of a simulated thing going on. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I might honestly just like go back and watch through them all, but we'll see.
Yeah, it might make a little more sense. Like I kind of relate this quote unquote series to 4, 8, 12, 14 videos. So like there's like the 4-part noob series, the 4-part pro series, the 4-part hacker series, and then I had like this. I kind of tied it into like this Steve Herobrine story. Those last 2.
Got it.
And that after that was kind of when I branched off into different things. Like I started doing different skits, like the Bed Wars video and so on.
And are all these like other skits standalone?
Yes, I did not. So interestingly enough, I had a video on my side channel talking about like my thought process behind the noob series.
Yeah.
And in that video, I said, like, I don't know if I'll ever make something as good as that. And that was obviously before I made Parkour Civilization.
Yeah.
But like, I was just kind of always in that mentality that like the skits were much easier to do than the storylines. Like it's much easier to get people on board with a one-off video than storylines. So as from my experiences on YouTube so far.
That's just the meta at this point. Like it's.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't really return. Like I had a couple attempts between that and Parkour Civilization of a couple stories that just didn't pan out. So I just stopped them. I basically stopped them.
Was this like after you posted them, like they didn't do well, or was this like you just didn't finish the video?
Like I think in a combination of they were performing way less than my skits would, right? And also I just wasn't as passionate about the idea as like I kind of wasn't feeling it after those, nothing like to me, like at that time when I was doing a lot of the skits, like the noob series felt like how I kind of feel about Parkour Civilization right now is like it was such a good idea, and I was everything I would make after that just didn't feel like it met those standards, so I kind of didn't have the passion to continue the storylines after that. So that was kind of my thinking with those ones.
And that answers the next question too, of just like why you settled on the scripted skits. Well, I guess it half answers it, because it answers why you settled on the skits for a while, but it doesn't answer like why were you drawn to like the scripted stuff in the first place rather than gameplay?
Yeah, I think in general, fully scripted stuff, in my opinion, is still kind of an unexplored concept on YouTube. Like I think there's still not many people in the grand scheme of things doing it, right? And I think like what I'm trying to do now, especially after Parkour and PvP Civilization, like has totally shifted my perspective on like what is possible with Minecraft. Like I think when people think about doing like scripted stuff, like we as a community like haven't even scratched the surface of like what people can create when it comes to like scripted Minecraft stuff.
Yeah.
And like I just think I think because there's not many people doing it, you know, that was one way to stand out just as a Minecraft creator, right?
Did you think
And
about that at the
two,
time?
I definitely did not. Like I
Got
think
it.
two, I was gonna say two, like a reason is I just like love doing that stuff. And I think YouTube is so much more enjoyable when you're just making stuff that you actually want to make. I think that's but yeah, I mean for me, like I'm really close friends with Siwa and Grox, right? And they are also in the space of doing skits and stories. And like there will never be a call where we're not we're not throwing out a specific skit or a joke that like even just like one tiny thing to like include in a video that could be just a funny bit that a Minecraft video could have, right? Like we're just always throwing those out. And I think just being in that circle of creators, like that we're just all super passionate about making Minecraft videos with funny bits or good stories or something like that, right? And I think there's just not many people doing that. And so I think I've just always been on that thought process.
This isn't like anything I wrote down, so take your time if you want to prepare for it. But I'm curious like how and when you met both of like Siwa and Grox, because they seem like they're a big like influence on you.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So I met Siwa. So I started posting my skits like on TikTok, right? And or these modded playthroughs, I should say.
Yeah.
And there were a couple new skits I tried like that just were short form content that I didn't make into long form, right? And at the time, Siwa was also getting super big, like doing his short form content on TikTok. And so I actually met Siwa through my other good friend Jufi Luby, who was also on TikTok at the time. So they were like Jufi and Siwa were two really big TikTok creators at the time. And so I got introduced to Siwa through Jufi. And
so how'd you meet Jufi?
I've known Jufi for a while. So,
got it.
Yeah. And so Siwa and I, like, you know, we got into Discord calls and like it was instantly like I actually told him about this creeper hole idea, right? The skit I had for the Minecraft if creeper holes were never filled. And like he was like I could already tell I was super passionate about it and he was super passionate about it. Like he would be creating new skits all the time for TikTok and he was super in love with that idea for a video. And he's actually in that video. Like that's the first video that I was like, hey, you want to be in this? Like I think it would be a really funny idea. And yeah, like he was such a believer in that idea and just all that stuff. And somehow I think during that time, Siwa was also reached out to Grox because Grox was just starting to get big on TikTok. And then I met Grox through Siwa and so on.
Got it. And then you all just kind of transitioned to like YouTube around the same time?
Yeah. So because like I would post the modded playthroughs on YouTube that didn't really perform too well. But the creeper hole video, like even though it didn't do good on YouTube, it did insanely well on TikTok. Like I would post clips of that one.
Got it.
And then sorry, I was just gonna go ahead. I kind of realized I didn't answer that to the best of my ability. But like
I think you did.
I was just gonna say when I posted that second episode of the Noob series that got like 1 million a day, that I think I honestly just dropped TikTok as a whole.
Yeah.
As like when that happened, I just only started posting on YouTube from then on.
Got it.
Yeah.
This is so far, by the way, this is like so much more information than I was able to find elsewhere. This is like actually saving the video, bro.
No, I would.
Like, thank you so much.
No, I'm glad to fill some of the gaps.
Yeah. All right. So next up, like, how do you balance creativity with like algorithmic performance?
Yeah, this is a good question because like I like struggle with this so much because I think, you know, as a YouTuber yourself, like I'm sure you know that like there's things that just work and don't work on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like there are so many ideas that I have that, especially like just being 3-4 years into YouTube, I know like especially for story videos, I think could theoretically be a good story as is, but on YouTube, like I don't know if it will work, which is why like it's kind of a weird balance you have to find between getting an idea that is good and getting an idea that will work on YouTube. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, totally.
Like, yeah. So for like Parkour Civilization, that intro I stumbled upon, like, I think that intro, like I now see a bunch of people making Civilization content, like kind of using that template as to start off, right? Like where you have a guard coming to the door, stuff like that, right? And like I think that's an example of like it's like you kind of have to follow some sort of guideline that works on YouTube regardless of the idea, you know? And so like while there is a lot of there are a lot of ideas I have that in an ideal world I would like to tell the story a different way and, you know, have maybe like a title sequence or things like that. Like I just think those things don't work necessarily. So kind of finding a middle ground is challenging, but you know, been working so well so far.
So who would you say are like biggest inspirations or what?
Yeah,
like it doesn't have to be YouTubers.
Yeah, for sure. So I think like someone who definitely doesn't get enough credit, and he's, you know, hopefully watches this and he sees my appreciation, but is AJ the Bold. So like when I first got TikTok, like before I even started making stuff, like I didn't even like Minecraft TikTok. I wasn't even in the know on any of that, right? And then I saw AJ stuff and like the idea of making skits and stuff were I've just never seen before. And I loved AJ's content, like all his like dog series at the how he started was like massive. And I like that kind of inspired me to like that something resonated with me. And I was like, that seems like something I would have a lot of fun doing, right? Making skits with my friends and stuff like that. So AJ definitely was probably the first creator I saw that inspired me to kind of get on board with that. And then meeting Siwa and Grox who are also in the same field of doing that, just furthered that inspiration, I would say.
Got it. Okay. So it's I guess like at the point you're at, you've kind of like met your biggest inspirations.
I think so, for sure. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing that I don't have any like current inspirations in mind. I think Grox and Siwa and all those creators, like I mean, I love like everything AJ puts out now. Like I'm always rewatching his videos and stuff like that. So like I think I'm constantly in a spot where I'm watching all my friends' content. It inspires me to make better things, and you know, I hope me doing that inspires others, and so on.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with like not having some grand like pie in the sky inspiration. Like I mean, honestly, for me it's kind of the same thing. Like I've just met them at this point.
For sure.
Yeah. So did you like consider that your like standalone skits are like kind of like exploding TNT? Like is that ever a comparison that crossed your mind?
So you like I saw when you sent me this.
Yeah.
And I actually have never heard of them before, which
really
I think is so I've actually seen I've seen a comment of that, right? Like because I go through all my comments usually. Yeah. And like I've seen that before. And I've actually never heard of them, which is it's crazy because I looked them up just now and like you know, they seem like an OG, and I mean I watched a lot of Minecraft YouTubers back in the day.
Like this is his popular tab. Like that it looks like it could be Evbo videos, like the topics.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I don't know if it's believable or not, but I've never heard of him, to be honest.
Did you watch any other like skit YouTubers who are like similar to him?
I think the only people I could think of were like AJ and I think Mick Young did skits back in the day. Like he did skits around that time.
Right. Okay.
But those two are like the only people that come to mind. Honestly, I would have to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say like Siwa had like an ongoing series like on TikTok. That would be like if like POV, you're a mob in Minecraft, right? And he would do a ton of those. Like that was what kind of got me on the track of doing all these skits. Like if something was something. But yeah, now when I'm looking at the picture, it totally looks like exactly what I would make.
There's a couple other channels like that too, who did like similar stuff to that, and I'm just like I'm surprised you didn't like grow up on those, you know?
Yeah, I grew up with a lot of people, like, you know, I feel like Beijing Canadian and Jerome were kind of like the two main people I watched, but yeah, it somehow didn't get on the exploding TNT path.
All right, so how is like Parkour Civilization different from anything you've done before it?
I think there's a few things here. One, I think just the gimmick that I stumbled upon of having parkour being used for everything is like just I think that concept is just so good. Like I think out of all my skits and stories, I just don't think I've stumbled upon an idea that good or just, you know, well, not like I just think it's such a funny concept that has never been explored ever, you know?
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but because I haven't seen every YouTube video there is, but as far as I know. And so I just think me stumbling upon that idea was just something like so unique, like as a concept for a video. And then two, I think what made it stand apart from everything else I've made is like this was kind of first time I fully committed to like a whole storyline, right? Because I think in general, like episodic content is hard to make work performance wise on YouTube. And so like you always get this declining views on like a whole storyline from what I've experienced. But I kind of just full committed from the start to seeing this through, because I just like I was kind of in this, I was doing skits for about like 2 years before that. Like I had that initial series that jump started my channel, and then I did around 2 years of skits. And honestly, like my skits weren't performing that great, like up until Parkour Civilization. And like that kind of got me in the mindset of like, okay, I really want to try something different. And honestly, I was at the point where like I really wanted to try something that I just think would be really fun. Like I kind of like had to take a mental break from all the skits, and I was like, I'm just gonna try doing something different.
Were they getting like, and you say they were getting kind of stale, the skits?
Yes, I like, for me, like making them like for like enjoyment wise was getting stale for me.
Got it.
And so that's what kind of inspired me to do. Like I was just, at the time, I was just doing a lot of parkour in my free time because I just like doing parkour. And like you can kind of connect the dots. I was just doing parkour one day. I was like, you know what? Like I should do a series based on parkour. And yeah, I think those two things just kind of came together for an awesome series.
Yeah. This is like a complete tangent, but I just searched Evbo on YouTube because I was going to your channel and I found this.
Oh yeah.
So now, anyway.
Yeah, it's funny.
So what was like the process of making it, like start to finish?
Yeah. So let's see. So I think this is a pretty funny start for the video. So like I had just a lot of times I'll write in my notes like one singular thing that I thought of during the day, like just a random joke that I think would be good for a video. So at some point in my notes, like probably in the year prior to Parkour Civilization, I had written down in my notes, does a parkour jump to my bed? Like, so in my head, I must have just thought of the idea of like, all right, like there's a hole in my house and I'm just like parkouring to it. I don't know why, but I had that in my notes and I never like explored that. And then one day I just went back to my notes and saw that and I was like, okay, that's a pretty good idea, right? And that eventually led to the thought process of like, all right, what if I just make parkour literally used for everything, right? And so that's when I started building out the world. Like I started making the grid, everything like that. And
wait, I'm sorry to interrupt for a second, but I don't this is like a long question, so I have like a specific part of it.
Yep, you're good.
What was interesting about like the parkour jump to your bed? Like what stuck out to you about that?
Okay, I think like, so I actually had this bit. I'm going to see if I can find this. I'm going to see if I can find what video this is in. But I actually had somewhat of a bit like this for another skit video where I basically like built a parkour training course to get to like the entrance of my house.
Yeah.
I think it was like something like if Minecraft was too difficult or something like that.
Found that.
Sorry, wait.
But
it's one of these. Might be this one. Anyways, so I had that as a bit. And I think where my thought process goes is like, whenever I make skits, I'm like, all right, what is like, kind of like, what's the most ridiculous thing you could see in a given moment, right? And it's like, all right, why would anyone like parkour to their bed? Like, why would, like, I was like, I think it's just kind of like, it's so stupid, it's funny, right? Like, I kind of like, that's the thought process I would always go down. And that's honestly the thought process I had when I was making Parkour Civilization. Like I think that's kind of just why it works. And like I think that's just the way I was thinking. Like why would someone be parkouring to their bed? Like and why so is there no floor?
That, you like expanded out this whole rest of it where like because parkour is money and it's just they're a noob, so that's why or whatever.
Right. I was like, yeah. So literally that thought process went from like, all right, parkour to your bed. It's like, okay, what if parkour is for everything? And it's like, what if you buy stuff with parkour? And then those things led to me like imagining what this world would look like.
Got it. That's cool. So then once you came up with the idea, like how long did it take for the first episode to come out and like what happened in between there?
I think it took around like a week, I would say. Let me see if I go back to my uploads. Let me see how long it took. Give me 1 sec. Sorry.
No problem.
So it took, okay. So I uploaded like my last skit on September 25th and then Parkour Civilization came out October 5th. So maybe however many days later, 10 days later. And yeah, so I started building out the world, and yeah, probably took a couple days. And I mean, I don't work like every single day, definitely not. So I, you know, it probably took around like a week to make, I would say.
Got it. So did you, what was I trying to say? Like, did you write the entire series before the first episode came out?
Oh, no, definitely not. Well, so I had like, this is actually a fun, no, I don't know if like, I don't know the definition of an Easter egg, but I included it in the series anyways. So I was like, once I stumbled upon this idea, like Siwa will vouch for me. Like I was in VCs and I was like explaining to all my friends, like this grand idea I've had, right? Like a 4-tiered system, like people get better as you go up. And like I had like a mini build that I made to like represent it. Like it was like end rods in the middle and then like the 4 colored carpets like as you go up. And so like I had that build. I actually put it in Parkour Civilization, like because that was like the first kind of model I did of like what I think the world would look like. So I had that built out. But also like I went into this thinking like, okay, I've probably a year before that, I tried a long series again and it just didn't work out that well.
But what was that?
It was called, let me see. It was called Minecraft, but the world is ending. No, sorry. Minecraft, but cheating destroyed the world. And then the world is ending is like the follow-up one I did to that.
Got it.
Obviously it's hard to say that like performance was an issue looking back on them, because it's like, okay, like it has 7 million views, like that's obviously not reflective of what it was at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like going into Parkour Civilization, like I was hesitant to do a series. So my thought process was like, okay, I have this grand idea for what I think a series would look like, but I kind of have to section it off in the event that like, you know, it just doesn't perform how I want it to perform. So I made episode 1 like potentially like a closed story, but with the opportunity of like continuing it after that. So it's like and then episode 1 happened to go crazy. So that gave me the hope that there was like something more to the story. Did
you like when you made episode 1, like, because I know you don't reveal that there's more layers, but did you like know that you were going to have more layers after pros?
Yeah, 100%. So like I because I had the model like built out, right? Like I was like, I had the 4 things. And but the way I built it was that like, and I still do this to this day, like whenever I build stuff for my series, like I'll figure out like ways to incorporate sectioning off builds so I don't have to build for the next episode. So like one gimmick I included in Parkour Civilization was like, once you rank up, you can see the layer below, but when you're below it, you can't see the layer above. And so like what that helped me do is like, I didn't have to build the layer above. Like I could focus on everything at layer 1 and make episode 1. Then I could build for the next episode and so on and so on.
Got it. This is like such a random niche question that's not going to end up in the video, but how do you work with the height limit? Like how does it fit in the height limit?
So Parkour Civilization did fit in the height limit to the very the very last block. Like I had to move a couple buildings because like at the last level, there's a couple buildings that are like floating.
Yeah.
Or those ones would reach the height limit. So that one.
So I guess you start at like whatever negative whatever from like caves and cliffs, and then I guess
I'm not sure. I mean, it's a super flat world. I don't know if that. I just kept going up until.
Yeah, I swear that's like that. You couldn't have done that before caves and cliffs came out, because that's like definitely more than 256 blocks.
I don't know the answer to that question. No. All I know is I didn't, but I will tell you, like for PvP Civilization, which I'm working on right now, like the one I'm trying to describe this without going into too much plot detail. Like think of like the giant Parkour Civilization tower, but it's just way, way taller. And there's different levels, but you're going down. And I have like each section like side by side because it's just way too tall. So like I'll like have a drop down, but I'll lower my render distance to pick up into the next one. So it's like, so that's how I work around the height limit for this one.
Makes
but
sense.
Parkour Civilization did fit for whatever whatever it was.
That's like the most inconsequential question. So let's see. How did you feel when it like caught on as a meme? Like, did you expect that, or was that totally a shock to you?
Definitely not. Like that was like the craziest thing, and like. But I think it was like, not only was it crazy, but it was just strange because like that video was already on track to be like my biggest video of all time, right?
Yeah.
And like the weird thing is, it's like it came out in October 2022. Like that's when I mean, sorry, 2023. That's when I started working. Let's get this over with. And then like none of the meme stuff happened until October 2024. So a full year like after I started working on it. And like by then I was already, because I started PvP Civilization in June. I think I started working on it in June.
Yeah.
And so like by then I was already months into this new series. Like Parkour Civilization was out of mind for me. I was just fully focused on this new series. And so that started happening. I was like, wait, like I don't even understand what's happening. Like,
I have this other series. Why are you liking that one?
Yeah, no, like I was on a trip during that time, and like I remember like T-Watt was blowing up my phone. Like he was like, "Dude, Ludwig just tweeted, what is Parkour Civilization?" I was like, "All right, what is?" I actually have no clue what's going on. Like it was so weird. But it was. I think the weirder part is like how it was, because by then it was still at 25 million views before any of that hype started. So it's kind of weird how like it was able to do that well for me, but still go like unnoticed by such a huge range of people. You know what I mean? I think that was the weirdest part.
Yeah.
But still, overall, very, very crazy.
Got it. Do you know like what kickstarted it? Because I've heard from a couple people that there was like one TikTok edit that like snowballed. But
yeah, I actually I went down the rabbit hole of like figuring this out. This is a little convoluted, but
yeah.
But okay, so there was an
saved me a bunch of time.
Wait, what was that?
I said it saves me a bunch of time. I'm not complaining.
Oh yeah. I got the rabbit hole for you. So like there will be people that post like, you know, clips of my videos like on TikTok all the time, right? Like just randomly throughout the years. And like there's so many Parkour Civilization ones like that have done really well like in the past. And someone posted just, you know, the first minute of it again in July 2024. Like just it's been out there. Like the first minute has definitely been out there and it's done well, but someone reposted it again, and that one did like numbers on TikTok. Like,
do you have a link to that?
Let me see if I can find it. It might take me a little, but let me.
You can do it later if you want to.
I would guess it's of the top ones. Okay, I am not seeing it because I'm like when I checked it, it was like on an account with like that was the first post like of that account.
What
like it was
like what month did you say it was again? Because I can like look by
that
date.
Was in July 2024.
Got it. So these are all way newer.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that was reposted on TikTok and it did really good on TikTok. And then there was an X account that like I think like their thing was that they post like they like repost just viral TikToks and stuff. Like that was like they like just all over the board, like not Minecraft, but just any genre. So it was so that X account reposted that TikTok, and then that post on X got like 18 million views or something like that, or impressions, I guess. So that tweet was like kind of what jump started the X audience, which I guess like operates in a completely different lane than like YouTube. And so I think that post specifically was like the one that I am assuming kind of jump started like all the memes and stuff like that.
Got it. Okay.
I can find, I guess if I find the tweet out, that would find it should be, there's not many good search filters on
TikTok or Twitter?
On Twitter.
Twitter's actually got a lot, like the advanced search
filters.
Yeah. Just type a search, like any search, and then it lets you get to them. Like if you type any search and then click the three dots and then go to advanced search.
Oh, I'm on my phone. Is that
Oh, you might not be able to. I know there's like a separate website that's like Twitter advanced search that like generates it for you, but I don't know if that would work on mobile.
Let me give it a couple more scrolls and then
but you can filter by like a date range and everything. So it would be like, I'll put like minimum likes at like 200,000 from, you said it was July?
I think the tweet was later. The tweet was like in September.
So I'll do like July to October.
Yeah, it would definitely be between then.
Okay, maybe it doesn't. Maybe 200,000 likes was
maybe 100. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think nothing came up for that. I'm trying to find no results. Okay, did I spell it wrong? No.
I'm wondering if the repost of it like doesn't specifically say Parkour Civilization. You know what I mean? Dude.
Yeah. What if I just what if I search like credit Evbo? Just like Evbo.
I found it.
You did?
It is. Yes, I found it. Okay, the account is Clown underscore depot. Or wait, let me
Okay.
just send. Let me just send you the link. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, sure. Because I'm gonna have to scroll a while to get to that.
Yeah. Here. There we go. That's why it had 91K, just under the.
Oh, that explains it.
So like they responded to it. They're like, "Oh, did not expect this tweet to gain traction. So here's the movie," and then they linked the movie.
I'm bookmarking that so I can find it. It seems like they aren't just reposting TikToks because they're like always credit the source, otherwise you'll stay a parkour noob. So like they're kind of they're like into it a little bit.
I'm not sure how much they watched of it, but you know that's some good,
like they're at least
good ball knowledge
in it enough. All right, let me see what's next. So did you actually intend Parkour Civilization to be an allegory for capitalism?
Yeah, that is a funny question because like I think like the short answer is I did not like go into the series intending to like make it as an allegory, but like I realistically I went into the series like what we were talking about before. I was like, what would a world look like if it was all parkour? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But with that being said, like I knew the story would go down like a dystopian route, right? And like I grew up in some of my favorite, like when I was growing up, some of my favorite books were like dystopian genre novels. And so like I think going down the dystopian route usually takes it to the point where it's like you have those underlying themes throughout the story. So like that wasn't my main focus for sure. But like I think the world dynamic that I set up, like I knew it had room to like apply those concepts in, you know what I mean? But like it wasn't my intention to, you know, like the story wasn't to make an allegory or whatever, but it was like,
so you kind of like,
it had room for it.
You're like, okay, I can see how people would think that.
Yeah, for sure.
Got it.
Like I think a lot of like I think just me thinking along the lines of like a dystopian world like has issues like, you know, like classism and things like that woven into it. So like while that wasn't like the forefront idea, like it was like I could see like what I made would be interpreted like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the one thing that throws it off for me is like the champion is not like a profit motivated thing. Like that's, other than that, it would be perfect. But he's just like a cartoon villain. Like
like if anything, like I think Siwa is like more like of like is painted more as like the villain of like like he's got some more like sinister stuff. But yeah,
but I think it's just like calling it capitalism is a little bit silly when he doesn't want money. He just wants to have barrier blocks all to himself and be in his own little corner.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, he's got like he's a little power motivated. Like he wants the power to stay at the top for sure. Like it starts, the lines get a little blurry when it's like, all right, if people want money, but then you like parkour's money, so it's like, all right,
but like how do you parkour?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it's like almost.
It's a little complex.
Yeah. So okay, next question is compared to like other scripted Minecraft series. So I'm thinking like White Pine. Why do you think yours like does so much better? Do you think it's like younger audience or what?
I think there's probably a lot you could say about this. Like, and I like that you mentioned White Pine because like that series is so cool. But I think like and I mean, White Pine 1 did really good.
Yeah.
But like that kind of explore, like I think going back to what I was saying about like how just with YouTube's algorithm and things like that, like it's not very forgiving to episodic content, right?
Yeah.
And that's why like to me, like as someone who likes making stories, like I feel boxed in a little bit in terms of like how I can structure things in a way that's like it's gonna get viewed a lot on YouTube, right? And like I think I think the concept of parkour is just super engaging. Like I think that the concept itself is just a good concept all across the board. And
I think it's a lot more accessible than like having to know all these characters.
For sure. Like I think you can, you know, I like whenever I go into making videos, what's on my mind is like how I can get people on board with the idea as fast as possible. And I think Parkour Civilization does just that, like very well. And I also think this is a weird like psychological element to it. And this is actually something I thought of while I was making Parkour Civilization. Was like, you know, those Reddit storytelling videos where
I know what you're talking about.
Parkouring. It's like there was a point in time when I was like watching those and I was like, why is parkour such a good thing to like keep people's attention, right? And it's like, and I kind of realized like that is such a good element for like attention, for keeping someone's attention like in Parkour Civilization, because no matter what, like even if I'm explaining something that's like if I'm like lore dumping or something like that, like I'm still jumping constantly. And so it's like there's always that like small percentage of the viewer thinking like, okay, like he could fall here, you know? And I think that's kind of a slept on success factor.
Yeah.
And that's why I think now, granted, I don't want to sell myself short, but that's why I think I will probably never outperform Parkour Civilization just in the history of my channel. Granted, I said that before, but now I have a much bigger shoe to fill.
Well, I would argue PvP Civilization per episode gets like more views. Or at least like in the long term it will.
Yes, I definitely like I could go into that as well, but I'll try to stay on the question at hand here. Sure. But yeah, I'm trying to think, did I answer all that? I don't know.
It was basically just like why do you think yours does better? And I think it just comes down to accessibility. I think you kind of answered it.
Oh, for sure. Oh, that was another point I was going to get at, is like being appropriate for like all ages. Obviously, like I think like the younger audience is obviously way bigger in terms of the gaming scene, you know. So I think
your stuff also like you click it and it's like, okay, this is like textbook Minecraft. I'm just seeing Minecraft visuals. But a lot of other like scripted series tend to like have like either animated or like shaders or just something that like really throws it off. So I think yours is just like that also is a reason it's more accessible.
Yeah, that is honestly like something a long time ago. Like I decided like would be my brand as like a across the board is just having straight up vanilla Minecraft, no textures and stuff like that. And I mean, I've had a couple scenes like in Parkour Civilization, like that finished with an animated scene. And because now I'm getting into the realm where I just like love telling stories on YouTube, and those things are like at the end of the day, these are like passion projects for me. So I would like all these scenes, like the animated ones, like I love like working with, Q Dandy is the one who animated all my scenes so far. And like just working with him to make those like endings for them have been so cool.
All right.
But yeah.
So next question is like, what do you think about this like massive fandom that suddenly exists?
I mean, it's just crazy, but like I'm just super I'm super grateful for all the support. Like
I guess like on recording, you're not going to be like, I hate them.
Yeah, obviously not. Yeah, no, but I genuinely am super grateful. Like I was talking about this with some of my friends, and like it's like the comments are so supportive about things like me being like, oh, the writing is so good and the world building is so good and stuff like that. But like in reality, I don't pretend to know what I'm doing, right? Like I just make stuff. And like, I'm just, I think I've gotten a lot better, but at the end of the day, like I've never studied anything in terms of like story building or writing and things like that. And I just think
have you read like books on it?
No, I have not done a single thing of research about like crafting stories or whatever, like other than just consuming media by myself.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, just the comments being so supportive, like it makes me feel like it's like, okay, like I could actually do this as like as a career, which I don't know if that's unrealistic or not, but like it's nice at least getting glazed.
I mean, you feel like at this point you kind of are doing it as a career. Like you got to be making a.
I am for sure. But I think there's like I think I get way too much credit for being like a good writer or things like that. Like I just
I think it's like good, but if I'm being honest, like it doesn't belong on like Netflix, but it's still good
for sure.
Yeah,
and that's a very reasonable thing.
Yeah, I think it's like solid though. I think like it's definitely like there's a story there that you can get invested in, and the same can't be said for like a lot of other YouTube content.
Yeah, and I mean at the end of the day, like that's what I'm trying to do, and I think like I'm still in the process of like what we were talking about before, like trying to like workshop a good story while being in the boundaries of YouTube, of YouTube performance. Like I think that's just a constant battle.
Yeah, and it's almost like a different beast than making like a episodic TV show.
For sure. Like I mean, truthfully, I think the newest like episodes of PvP Civilization are like some of the best story videos I've ever made, because I've just gotten like I just went in such a different direction with it, like than Parkour Civilization. So like that's been really fun for me, because like I feel like I'm starting to explore like my strengths as a storytelling YouTuber.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of PvP Civilization, I guess is a good transition on to like, was it motivated by anything more than just I want to follow up Parkour Civilization, or was that? I mean, obviously, like, you definitely also enjoyed it. Okay.
For sure. So like to start like following up like Parkour Civilization was definitely a factor, and like saying that it wasn't would be just crazy because like at the end of the day, I'm still looking like my main goal is to grow my channel, right? And so using the template of like having the guard at your door and present me with a life-threatening situation was like it was the concept of like if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
But there are a couple things that I think are cool as to like why I settled upon that idea. And to start, like I enjoy PvP a lot. Like I was telling you when I was a kid, like I would stream PvP all the time, stuff like that. So like I love PvP to begin with. And like that's kind of why I made Parkour Civilization too. Like I just would always do parkour, you know, in my free time. And the second thing is that like during that time, towards the end of Parkour Civilization, I was invited by, you know, Speed Silver.
Yeah.
He had a Hoplite Battle Royale event with like some creators. And so I teamed with Foray, Hoff, Prince Zam, and Clown Pierce. And like during that event, like because Prince Zam was like he was talking to me a lot about Parkour Civilization. And we would like throw out the joke of like being a PvP civilization because most of the people on that team were really big in the PvP community. And so that was just kind of a joke throughout the event. But then after that, I was like, wait, that is like, that honestly could be a good idea. Like PvP is something I like a lot and is one of those concepts like that's kind of innately in Minecraft. Like parkour is in Minecraft, PvP is in Minecraft. And so that was kind of the tipping point of like that. I think I'm going to go down the PvP route. And so I kind of made it a fun thing too, where I was determined to have all like Foray, Toph, Prince Zam, and Clown be characters in that series because like I kind of felt like it was a testament to when I decided to go through with the idea. Like that'd be fun to have them in the series. So as of now, they are all in the series. So I think that was pretty cool. I don't know if that means anything to them, but to me it does.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Also, just like a side note, when I don't remember exactly when this was, but I watched like the first episode. And have you heard the term "kick the dog"?
Maybe, but
it's like a storytelling thing.
Okay.
So essentially, it's like have all the other characters be really mean to the main character so much that you want to see them succeed. And I
okay.
I watched that and I texted my girlfriend. I was like, this dude has got kick the dog down to a fucking science. Like you had
I didn't think of that. Like I didn't know.
Every single character was like beating your ass for the first like 10 minutes of this video. And then she watched it and she was like, no, I just watched that entire thing for him to go broke and die.
Yeah.
But
you're really you want to root for me, you know?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, I honestly have never heard of that. I thought you were gonna say something about like kind of like
just
like milking an idea or something.
Oh,
I
no.
thought that was what I was referring to. But like I'd
No.
not heard of that concept. But in hindsight, that is like my thinking probably goes to that direction.
Yeah, I got that from a book. I've read like a bunch of books on this stuff. If you ever want to like get into that, I can send you some. But
I'm super down. I'm like at this point, like I think my brain is just fried and I can't read anymore. But like
I do audiobooks. I don't read.
Oh, that might be a good play then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely started it off with like kind of the similar template of like just having the main character be.
Right. Well, I think like I probably don't want to spend a huge amount of time with the video on PvP Civilization because I think it's just like what you're most known for. But
for sure.
So I guess my next question would be like, where's the future of Evbo headed? Is it just more civilizations until the end of time, or what do you like? I mean, you're not planning super far ahead, but like, what do you envision?
Yeah, I can guarantee that PvP Civilization will be the last quote unquote civilization title on the. Well, I won't say the last, but like I'm not doing it after this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna challenge myself to find something that's not that. So that will be a work in progress.
Got it.
But I definitely. So I think currently PvP Civilization is like the longest series I've ever done. And I've like thought so much about like the plot of this one, like way more than Parkour Civilization. And so after this, I'm definitely gonna be looking to do something much more laid back, whether that be not like maybe one-off story videos, like not so much skits, but short stories closer to what CWAT does. I think I'm definitely looking to make something that's not as grand and well I'll have to think about subconsciously for like 9 months because that's how long PvP Civilization has been going on for. So
that sort of leads into this next question. Like would you ever like write a book Is that something that you have on your radar?
I have definitely thought of that. And going back to me not having any writing experience or anything like that, I'm not sure how good a book would be if I wrote it. Granted, someone could help me write it. And I think that would be a really cool idea. Like I've thought of the idea of even making like Parkour Civilization into like a manga or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I think those concepts would be awesome. And like obviously with a book, I could have much more free reign in terms of the storytelling capabilities rather than being like confined to the YouTube restraints. But
I feel like you could do like Parkour Civilization, but like adapt it to where there's like you talk more about characters' thoughts and stuff, like kind of like how a book would do. And I think like you could create something genuinely new out of that.
Yeah, something I like realized as I was like, or something I'm focusing on during PvP Civilization is like going way more into the other characters, and that's something I just did not do at all in Parkour Civilization. It's super straightforward, and you only know what's happening with my character. So that's been fun for me because like I haven't really done that before.
Yeah.
But like I think that's something that's made like these recent videos like some of my favorites, just kind of exploring like that, because in reality like most stories do focus on a lot more than just one character. So
okay, that's all of my like proper questions. I guess I can use this as an opportunity. This is, if there's one book on writing to read, it's this one. This is on Audible. It's by a Hollywood screenwriter, and he talks about just like, it's basically like a full like base level guide to like, he focuses on screenwriting, which is like writing movies. And yeah, if you want to get into it, that is where I would say to start. But anyway,
check this out. Like I'm always looking to get better. So
yeah, I think you already do a great job. But if you want like more of the traditional like wisdom, I think that's a good place to get it.
Nice, thank you.
Anyway, so is there any like question that you wish people asked you more often?
I don't know. I don't.
Very open ended, I know.
Yeah. I'm not too much of a demanding person, so I don't know if anything comes to mind.
We can come back to that.
Yeah, I could try to think of something in a little.
Right.
Got nothing on my mind so far though.
Thank you so much, genuinely. This was like
no,
so
thank you
helpful.
for
Saves the video, bro.
I like doing this stuff, so it's fun for me. So yeah, I get a Skyboy video.
Dude, Sip Over was the same way. It was so silly. Sip Over was like, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've watched a lot of your videos. So,
oh my god, thank you.
Yeah, I probably did watch the Sip Over one.
This was a wonderful chat. I'll let you know if I got any other questions, and that's all.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, bro.